Hello, all you wonderful fools. It's time for the Mizzah Tee show.
All aboard!
Here we go, let's start the show. Hosted by Mizzah Tee. Nintendo video games are the favorite ones for me. News and reviews, some gameplay too. Battling drones is what I do. M-I-Z-Z-A-H is the show by Mizzah Tee. It's the show by Mizzah Tee. If I were Nintendo, this is what I'd do. About services. If I were Nintendo, I would implement a separate subscription-based online service for those fools who are into extensive chat features, trophies, and the like, making it a separate non-forced payment service. For the purposes of this video, let's call it Nintendo Network Squared. The free online basic service for Nintendo Network would remain and allow you to see Nintendo Network Squared members, trophies, and options for cross-game chat and party chat in your window. But in order to access these features, you are prompted to upgrade your service to Nintendo Network Squared. Perhaps that would be a good way to convince dinosaurs such as Mizzah Tee to care about and upgrade to these features. But I highly doubt that I would. Fools. But anyway, Nintendo could have that option and charge for it. That way, it won't cost them out of pocket for the infrastructure the way it cost Sony with the PS3. I mean, that is the reason they're now forcing for a subscription fee for the online for the PS4. Giving it away free was costing them too much money. And they could also perhaps add a virtual console rental service that allows you complete access to the virtual console games. And obviously, you can still just buy those games and download them to your Wii U, as always, and not just stream rent them. And last, but not least on services, would be unified accounts. I'm sure I don't have to elaborate. This has been beaten to death by fans, and I agree. I've said it in the Gamers at Large podcast that I'm in, that I would have multiple Wii U's in my house if this was the case. I hate having to unhook and lug my system from the living room on the first floor to my office on the third floor. But honestly, I have no doubt that this is in the works now, that the 3DS Miiverse and unified network accounts between Wii U and 3DS are now available. I believe that move was necessary and smart. 3DS is mega popular and selling like crack-laced hotcakes. If you own a 3DS, you know Nintendo is marketing Wii U and its games heavily on the 3DS eShop. And you can now download Wii U games from your 3DS now. Brilliant move and great marketing. As far as I'm concerned, that alone will help Wii U to be successful. And perhaps Nintendo should remake certain early 3DS games for the Wii U. My personal pick would be Kid Icarus Uprising. If I were Nintendo, this is what I'd do. About second and third party. Simply, there needs to be an expansion of second parties for Nintendo. I probably should have researched this, and honestly, fools, I just don't have a lot of free time. As far as second party, off the top of my head, that have Wii U games out or announced to be coming are Retro and Monolith Soft. Please correct me if I'm wrong, if there are more. So I believe they should expand here. Go back to your Dream Team mentality, Nintendo, that you initially had for N64 and GameCube, that you weren't fully able to realize. If you don't know the history of Nintendo's Dream Team, here's a few tidbits. After seeing the not-so-warm response third parties had initially to the N64, Nintendo decided to try to form a Dream Team of core developers to work on the N64. It mostly fell through, and Nintendo and Rare were left carrying the load, but they did make some headway. They had Left Field making excellent sports games like the Kobe Bryant courtside games and Excite Bike motocross game, which I still enjoy. There was also those excellent Ken Griffey Jr. baseball games. As we know, Nintendo owns the Seattle Mariners, but early on with the GameCube, Retro was working on quite a few titles. They were working on a car combat game, a football game, an action-adventure game called Raven Blade, but they all got canceled. This was in response to EA's initial non-committal to the GameCube. EA did the same thing with the N64, but eventually came around on both occasions. And it seems they're doing it again with the Wii U, hinting they will come back around again. And this is where my thoughts on second and third party kind of collide. If I were Nintendo, I'd say f*** them. Try to make that Dream Team happen again. Bring back left field sports, or segment off a branch of retro and call it retro sports, and have them focus on basketball, baseball, and football if the license does become available again. Tap Konami for soccer with PES and publish it for Wii U. That way Konami doesn't have to take the financial burden and risk. Show the industry again why you're the most lucrative games company in the industry. Truly become self-sufficient. So you have Retro Sports making sports games, Monolith Soft and perhaps Intelligent Systems making RPGs like X and console versions of Fire Emblem and Paper Mario. Strengthen your Sega partnership to revitalize their old RPGs like Phantasy Star and the Sky series. Keep Retro's main studio and allow them to be the new Rare, bringing us new kinds of shooters and platformers along with Metroid and Donkey Kong. So with EAD, Retro Studios, Retro Sports, Monolith Soft, you have a nice variety of genres covered like RPGs, platformers, action adventurers, and even FPS and sports. And while you're at it, go ahead and lock up Platinum Games, Nintendo. What are you waiting for, fools? This is the kind of second party that would be great for Nintendo. Make it happen. Work with Sega to continue securing Atlas titles like Shin Megami Tensei, but also old franchises that gamers want to see again badly from Sega's past, like Streets of Rage, Shinobi, Phantasy Star, Panzer Dragoon, Nights into Dreams, and yes, Shenmue. Hell, a new Seaman game on Wii U using a gamepad is to me a no-brainer. Many old school fans in the mid to late 20s and 30s who moved to other consoles will come back in droves for these kinds of games. And I'm not saying completely give up on Western third parties. Activision, Ubisoft, and Warner Brothers make some excellent popular games, so keep these alliances strong and continue to work on building a relationship with Western developers like Bethesda and Rockstar, and perhaps their games will come too. Dare I say, fund some Capcom IPs that fans are clamoring for, like Mega Man, for example. That would cause a storm that would make fanboys explode on both sides. And if Bethesda and Rockstar don't want in, f*** them fools. Make those Japanese studios part of your dream team to blunt what games Western third parties won't bring over. This would be amazing. This would make Wii U a must-have console even for the haters. Make sure those third-party companies willing to dip their toes into Wii U's uncertain waters don't get burned for their sacrifice. Like the studios behind Project Cars. Unlike PlayStation that has Gran Turismo, or Xbox that has Forza, Nintendo doesn't have a console-defining simulation racer. You should get behind and market the game Nintendo almost as if it was exclusive to the Wii U or something. Somewhat like the way Microsoft treats their Call of Duty ads. This could be Nintendo's console-defining sim racer. Make Reimagine real if it's not, and push the Virtual Console games library to be more robust. Although someone like myself who only cares for NES Virtual Console games because I still have most of my old systems and almost all the games that I would buy from the Virtual Console, I continue to have and play on my retro systems. Many young players will be playing these old classics for the first time. So continue to make that service more robust. If we had a gaming media worth a damn, Nintendo fans wouldn't have to speculate. But because we don't, speculate we must. So from what I see, Nintendo was expecting third parties to be there for Wii U's first year. Remember, Aliens, Metro Last Light, Rayman Legends, Army of Two were all supposed to be there early on for the Wii U and got delayed or canceled. And we know Aliens was abysmal, so the cancellation didn't hurt so much. Only thing that hurt was that the game turned out to be trash. But who knows what other games got canceled or moved. Western third-party developers began stripping features from their Wii U ports and so on. Things that all led to Nintendo's struggle to sell the Wii U early on. But if you implement my suggestions here, you'll have nothing to worry about going forward, Nintendo. So to recap, re-implement and realize your goals for the Dream Team. Forge strong alliances with Eastern developers to bring back classic franchises and continue strong partnerships with the Western third parties you have. And keep showing those indie companies that unconditional love, fools. And Wii U's future could be even brighter. And I won't mention things that I believe are coming. Things that I believe Nintendo are working on. Like surprise games in the work for Wii U that showcase the gamepad. And also those new types of games that Iwata had talked about previously. If I were Nintendo, This is what I do about Nintendo's image. If I were you, Nintendo, this is what I'd do about your image. Not a motherfucking thing. Fools. I'm just kidding, fools. But really, I wouldn't change much. You're Nintendo. Stay Nintendo. You're about making consoles and games for everyone. Hell, the first console was called the Famicom, the family computer. That's what you're about. Stay about that, fools. As for marketing, bring back those 2 Japanese dudes from the Wii commercials. But this time, have them come to the door and say, "We want to play with you." Get it, fools? But at least right now, your marketing is much, much better. And I'd say, perhaps, look back to the N64 ads for ideas. They were pretty good. But when the games come, make sure you continue to market them, fools. Well, fools, that's it for my If I Were Nintendo video. I hope you enjoyed it. What would you do, fools, if you were running things at Nintendo? Feel free to comment below and stay tuned for more videos from yours truly. If I were Nintendo, this is what I'd do. Oh yeah, one more thing. Play Nintendo, fools.